Good evening. Well, I have about half an hour before bedtime, so I thought I'd get on with finishing up running that 9-volt bus and tidying up some cables under the board. I think the scare I got was, "I'll do that later. I'll do that later." Catches up with us, doesn't it? The little fault we had just a few days ago there wasn't anything to do with what I'd done, but let's keep it tidy, shall we? Come on. Well, it looks lovely on the top, but if we dip down underneath, it's all dark under there, and there's usually a big pile of junk hiding. I have already cleared it out, and now I'm going to put some light on. So what I've done is I've mounted one of my video lights to a leg. Any electricians watching, shh, don't tell. Oh my word. And you could see for miles. So under here, all we've got, there is already a bus run, rather strung together like an old string bag. But look at this, these tiny little wires hanging down from lights. That's actually the caravan that I need to light up. No resistors on that, no resistors on the, I wonder what that one is. Oh, I know what it is. This is going to be fun, actually, because there's lots of things that I've done. So, right here, this market stall, and I think the one over there and the caravan, there's lots of lights. Oh, my word, nearly forgot that. There's a little sound module that we've got to put back underneath. These things are kind of fun. They cost about $8. I think that's what it was. And I need to mount this somewhere I can get at it, or extend. It breaks in half, actually. You can bring most of the board away and leave the speaker there. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? And then I can reprogram this, because this, if I hit that button, it's going to play for about 4 minutes. Don't need that. Right, let's get on with it. It works, but that's about all. Some of it's remarkably precarious. So we're just going to make a tidy little wiring loom under here. Even the resistor sticking out on the top. I must have added an additional one there for some reason. You can tug on it. Yeah, but we don't need to be doing that. Let's get some of those pads up there, and we'll have a way of keeping the cables tied that isn't an eye stuck in a... Well, it's different. It works. All right, I'll ask it. What was I thinking? Yeah, we'll fix it. Come on. Just noticed that cable just slung across there. I know what it is. That's a LocoNet. And it goes all the way over there. Yeah, I must have moved things around at some point and it reached, so I didn't bother with it. We're going to fix that too. Somebody needs to remind me to find a shorter piece of music for this thing. Yeah, this goes under the organ. It's remarkably loud. All I'm going to do is mount the speaker under the board. There's some holes I've drilled through. You've seen this before. But once you hit it, it goes for about 4 minutes. And that does charge the battery, apparently. So I'm going to need to periodically do that. Yes. I could unplug the speaker, couldn't I? Well, that's in there. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. Finally unplugged the speaker. There we go. I'm terrified of hitting something I shouldn't on that thing. It's quite a nice little circuit. Now, what was I trying to tell you? Yes, when you're doing something like this, do as much as you can in the comfort of your workbench. So I've loosened all the screws, and I can put the... Imagine trying to do this above your head under a board. That would just be silly, wouldn't it? And you can twist the thing around and make sure they're in the right place and all that good stuff. And you haven't got to be all uncomfy, and you can have a nice cup of tea at the same time. Yeah, so anything you can do, right down to crimping wires and soldering connections, all that good stuff, you can do on the bench the right way up. Now, you've heard me say I use suitcase. Yeah, I do when I'm attaching to the bus. So, for example, the radio tower or the transformer we showed you the other day, if there were a light there, it's nothing else for miles around, you just tap into the bus. But when the bus gets to somewhere like the market stall, there would be just nothing but T-taps all over the place there. So we're not using them there. We get each street light has its own connection. Are we in the right place with that one? That doesn't feel right. Do you see what I mean? This is much easier this way up. So the way these are not cheap actually. I know many of us in the model railway community use these, but they are not cheap. They used to be. I've still got a box of them somewhere. Right, now we have to tighten them all up. So if you've never seen these things before, I put them that way round. So you bring your plus and your minus into the end, and all your other connections go out there. On this instance, I'm going to be doubling up, so I will use these as well, but I'm still going to tighten them all down now, because if I don't, the very one I will forget or don't do will be the one that isn't working for some reason. So yeah, and that light is still on, meaning that music is still playing. I think it's 4 minutes, something like that. It's just it's nice, but it is a bit long. I've often wanted to build one of those street organs, not street organ size, but and not the tiny little ones either. But I realise, I know that it would. I mean, how many hobbies do you want? If I had one to restore, my woodwork skills aren't bad. The electromechanical I've got down, of course. But yeah, I think I would enjoy doing that. I don't know that anybody else around me would, but maybe one of these days. My brother-in-law has perked up interest. He made a carousel, or what we would call a roundabout, with galloping horses. He's very good at that stuff. And what else did he do? He made what the Americans call a Ferris wheel, and what we call a big wheel for Winnie the Pooh characters for my sister. So yeah, he could do it. But I think we've got trains to play with for a while yet. Before we get into that, joking aside, you remember I said it fell off. I can pick my mat up, and I haven't pushed down it with this. There you go. It sticks when you don't want it to, but doesn't when you do. One of the uses for this thing is every time you hit the button, it plays the next track. Well, there is only one track on it, and it's 4 minutes long. 10-second station announcements. How about that? And if I get a sequence running, so every time a train, whatever, joins these wires together, so it's very easy to set up a little trigger for this, isn't it? Or certain trains, please stand away from the edge of the platform, the next train is not stopping, or let's see if I can remember it. Aylsham, calling it Aylsham, Addisham, Beatsbourne, from Dover Priory. Anyway, you could get station announcements on one of these things. So the station could talk to you. You could have several of them. They're very cheap. The train now arriving at platform 1 is the 11:42 which is about what the time is, isn't it? 11:42 for Sleepy Nine Eyes time. Yeah, So I intend to use them. One more would be sitting under the trains that are sitting in the station, especially the electrics, the EMVs, with that compressor. If you had that on there, there's one of them that has sound. They don't make much sound going along, but that. So creative uses of these things. So I'll put a link in the description if I remember. I always forget to do that, but I'll do that to where I got this, and I've got a couple of them, and I've had to play with them. There's cheaper versions. I like this one. Right, let's see if it works. I'm sure it does, but that's... This is self-inflicting, isn't it? Oh, come on, get in there. It really does stick. So where's the button? Here it is. Yeah, it works. So I can now put this under the board and bolt it in place. I'm not going to subject you to it. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about. It's this thing. And if I lift it up, you can see there's a few holes underneath it. And the sound comes up. Oh, somebody's fallen down, bang. And the sound comes up through the holes. Yeah. Enough people watching it. It must be popular. Well, here's the little trick. These are cable clamps that you would use with house wiring cable. You put a nail through there. I've taken the nail out, drilled the hole out a bit, put a screw in, trimmed off a bit of the front. It seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? And then these are just the right height now to just gently clamp that speaker. So it will stick because of the sticky pad, and that'll just hold it in place. So then it won't keep falling down, bang. Having said I was not bad at woodwork, that is butchery of the first order. Yes. That's what you get for drilling holes with blunt drills from the top, not looking where you're going. Silly boy. There's the bus, or the end of it. Along the bus, of course, we would tap into it, but here it's just all going to spread out. Sub buses and all that good stuff, these are soldered, so all I'm going to do is join those to it. You don't want this in the thick of things. This would be the thick of things. The problem is that's very likely where there's a hole there, so presumably I added something there at one time. You put this over here and you're going to end up with cables coming down on top of it. Here you're right under the track. There's the extension for the track there, so I know that we're fairly safe there. Having said that, the moment I put it there, we'll need to put something on top. So this is the join between two boards, and right through it comes that, which is one of the lights. What a pain. It actually, the first time I did it, it hit the screw. Of all the places, had to be there. Yes. I haven't on this board, but I really should draw roughly where things are above, because you would never guess the organ is there. It feels like it was miles back, and so it's very easy to get confused about where you are. These must be platform lights. That's the only thing I haven't done. So there's a building here that's going to get lit. So yeah, it's interesting. Very easy to lose your orientation as well. Another couple of holes there. I wonder what those are for. I should get up on top and have a look. And they're getting quite close to this. So I will just check out what they are, actually. Well, this is exactly what I was talking about, because there used to be something sitting there. I don't remember what it was. And I got to the point of lighting it up. Now, this one isn't lit. That one is. So this and the caravan are. I don't know which else. Is that one not lit? It isn't. But I've left holes there in case I do. That's what it's about. Yes. You see, you've got to be so careful with this. I must remember that, actually. Don't think I did these. But we'll see. We'll hook them up and see what happens. It looks worse than it is. Got quite a bit done actually. It's bedtime now. One funny thing is that every time I power up one of these cables, it triggers the organ, meaning that there must be a cable next to something. There's no cross connections or anything, but the spike on the DC cable makes a magnetic field go woo, and it seems to trigger the audio thing. So I'm going to have to move it, I think. That'll be fun. Every time you turn it on, it happens. I have tried it. Caravan is lighting up nicely, and I'll show you when it's finished. All right, be a minute. So just to explain what I'm doing is where there is a connection, these terribly thin wires of resistors there, and essentially this is a bus, so lots of soldered and crimped connections. This one's the Caravan, and so I've got a little bit of slack underneath, all snugly tied, and then we're working that way, so it'll all come together. I've kept the connections separate so that if there is ever a fault, you don't have to start cutting wires. This one, I'm making use of the original. There's nothing wrong with it. It works. Just made the connections a little more secure, and we're fine. Yeah, so that's where the organ is, right above that. And the only place the cables run next to each other are here. The switch is all the way down there, so kind of interesting. I'll get a bit more done before it's bedtime, but it's very close. On a very practical note, you do need some space underneath the board. Some of these things come down quite a way. We ran into that on the main station board, you might remember. And I had to plan very carefully so that there weren't spikes sticking down where trains would clobber them. Obviously a cable tie with a long end on it, that's never going to hurt you. Cutting them off, they can get razor sharp. So if you're going to cut them off snug. There's a trend these days not to cut them off at all. Why would you? But I snug them off and do cut them, but I use the back end of cutters with flat on them. You see that? It's flat one side. So I make sure I'm the right way around, so I'm not putting a sharp bevel or anything on the ends. You have to pay, if you're going to cut them, pay attention to what you're doing. Otherwise you'll run your finger there and slice it. Yeah. The signal box is working. That one light that wasn't at the end of the platform is now working. The other platform, platform 1, I guess that is it? Is working. And it's all hooked up to the 5-volt bus. I'm going to show you real quick under the board. It looks lovely. So everything's up there and tidy. And this is mounted. So it's out of the way, can't pull off of the work counter every time I move, and so that's stable. I've just got to make up an RJ12 cable to go from there to the command center, but it's working. One more cable to do. There's always just one, isn't there? I ran out of cable ties again. I must buy another bag of 1,000. Now then, me with my electronics and electrical brain, I had a thought. There's a 9-volt bus and there's a 5-volt. And I haven't run the 5 because I haven't got any more Arduinos down that way just yet. Well, there's one, but we'll talk about that another time. But it occurred to me, both these feeds, the 9 and the 12, both go to that Arduino. I wonder what the difference of what the potential difference would be between the two negatives. I'm going to measure it. Go on, have a guess. What is the volts between that negative and that negative? Independent power supplies. There is a little bit of cross contamination, as it were. How about 115 volts? We're going to do something about that. There's no current there. I can touch it quite happily. Very brave, aren't I? But we're just going to join them together and see what happens, okay? Oh, there we go. We've got a cable running from there to there now. Just clamping those voltages together. unlikely to do any damage. You could touch both of them. Might feel a little tingle, but there's no current available. So it's just a standing voltage. We don't need it. It's gone away simply because I've put this cable on. And I'm just checking everything works over there. 5 volts are there. And the little servo is still working. So lovely. I must say, I love when a plan comes together. A couple of things I'd forgotten I'd done, I'll show you. The little market stall there has a light in it. Woohoo! It's actually stuck up underneath the canopy there. It just works. I should try some of the others, but I've got enough to do elsewhere without that. So, yeah, all of the platform lights are working now over there, including the one that's been annoying me for months. And we've got some trains running. Tonight's annoying little problem is that the green schools, oh, that's dusty. Look at the coal load, the dust in there. I must stop doing dusty work down here. But it's having struggles staying coupled to the carriages. It usually doesn't pull this rake, but since I'm working on the black one, I decided to give it a good proper clean. I retrieved the green schools from the storage drawer. Look, you've forgotten your carriages again. Oh my word. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It was coupled. Now one of the hooks is, if you can see that, I can see that one of the hooks isn't properly coupled. There's something to be said for the old decouplings. They do stay coupled a little better. Now, is this one all right? Yeah, he's fine. Let's have another look at that. And of course, down the hill, they'll just keep up with it. Something is squeaking. I don't know about you, but every now and again, I just feel like running favourite trains rather than what I'm supposed to be running, if you know what I mean. This whole layout starts to feel like a proper model railway. Fun. I love this scene here. It's with a bit of ballast and a little bit more landscaping. That's going to start looking believable, isn't it? I have no idea where I got those carriages from. I like them, but I've no idea what they are or where they came from. I know they're southern region or they wouldn't be painted that colour. But you've disconnected again. And I've no idea what's going on there. The dead body on the platform needs restoring. There's another one over here. When you're working underneath the baseboard, any vibration, especially with a power drill, does that sort of thing. Yeah, sorry tank, you have to go by. There's nothing obvious with these couplings. They're not droopy. They were lined up. It's interesting. Well, in the process of rejigging, I've got myself another place to plug in. It's not that far away from where I usually work, there. But now that this bench is lower, it's time I added something. And of course, now that this thing's screwed up underneath there, including this, it was just a whole lot easier to have this here. That I'm going to keep an eye on. Obviously, less ventilation there, but certainly a lot less knockability. Certainly out of the way, which is what I want. Right underneath that chapel, so if it becomes a crematorium, you know things were getting too hot. Every time I look around, there's something else to do. There is so much to do on this railway, my word. But certainly looking a lot better than it was just a couple of days ago, and it's running sweetly. Now, if the trains would just behave themselves, we'd be fine. Yeah, I'm talking to you. It does have a name, and I've had it years. I just never call it by anything other than Green Schools. Let's see what its name is. Oh, Winchester. Well, that's interesting. Winchester. I didn't know that. Now then, what's going on with these couplings? We need to have a look at that, don't we? Hand of God coming in there. Oopsie. Let's have a look here. The one on the carriage is missing. I mean, is it? It's in there. Well, there's the evidence. They're hooked beautifully. They're not droopy. They're broken hooks either. I'll have to run it and see. However, it is way past my bedtime, and so I'm going to have to do that another day. As the tank rumbles by in the background, I've got to have to turn it all off now. Thanks for watching. If you do like these videos, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's right up there. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye now.